Hello. How are we all? Nadia's not back yet, but she'll be back very soon. All sorts of shenanigans there. How are we all? How is everyone? Morning hand. Mark, you silly boy. Did you all enjoy did the members enjoy Nanny Dies? Little trip down Biscuit Memory Lane. That was fun, wasn't it? Sharon Wilson. This house has been the quietest I think it's ever been. It really has. I mean, when I'm away, Nad says it's very odd that I'm not here. It's like there's a death almost, but it's quite the same actually. It's weird. You realise that me and the girls, we're quite crazy, but focused crazy. It's not like constant sort of noise, so it's been very quiet. So I'm about to take Nanny Di a cup of tea up. It's Saturday. Jesus Christ, it's Saturday. It's Saturday. What are you guys up to today? Sarah Davis, did you enjoy your last night of good sleep? That's a really good question. I was enjoying my last night of good sleep, deep sleep, until I was woken by the dogs at about 2 a.m. and rather foolishly went out into the front garden equipped with Harley Quinn's baseball bat because I could hear noises. And there was a chap just standing in the drive next to the car. I haven't got to the bottom of whether he was going to break in or what. It was just, yeah. So I had to shout and scream at him to get out. I think he was drunk and I think he was going for a wee. So, so I was sleeping well, and then I wasn't sleeping well. And then I realised I probably, you know, one shouldn't, well, you say one shouldn't confront, but I guess on your property you have to. Louise Williams, the house looks tidier without Nads. It's funny you should say that. There isn't an awful lot to do, actually. No, you're right. I even made our bed. Where is Nad? Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Where's Nad? She'll be here soon. She'll fill everyone in. So, hi from New Zealand, Christine Bett. Hello. Alison Bennett. Last walk with my sister before potential lockdown. We are on the watch list up here. Are you in the Midlands? Are you in the Midlands? Vanessa Hoggett, hi gorgeous. Sending all of our hearts out to Ben, Darren Boy's partner. I heard on the grapevine that you're going through a really difficult time. I hope you're reaching out to whatever institutions you can, and if everyone can just send their heartfelt warm regards and thoughts and help for Darren Boy and Ben, and all our thoughts are with you. As ever, any struggles or dips, please reach out to Mind, reach out to the Samaritans. But yeah, all our thoughts are with you, Ben. Emma McDonald, that's so scary, never go out, you don't know what these crazies will do, don't go out again in the night. My husband's the same, I'm always telling him the same. No, I know, it's that thing where you initially go out, I don't know, it's kind of like normal kind of rational thinking isn't normal, isn't it? Oh, have you just seen something on Nadia's Instagram? Let's have a look. Let me have a look. What's going on her Instagram? You see, here's the thing, guys. Oh, look. Oh, look, she looks like she's smelling a fart. Oh, that's sweet. Let me just reply. Oh, bless her. She's a sweetie. So she does look like she's smelling a fart there, doesn't she? Has anyone else seen it? Anyone? No. Oh, there she is. Oh, it's. Oh. Oh. Can you see her? Shall I show you it? Look. Smelling a fart, for sure. Isn't she? She does do that a lot. She's smelling a fart. She's smelling a fart, and then she's happy about it. So there you go. You can ask her now. My hubby would have sent me out to look. Josephine Bailey, very dangerous thing to do. I know, but you know, What can you say? What can you do? Just let everyone know. My wee scone, Lynn Aoki, how are you? Is doing brilliantly. After the operation, her blood sugars are normal, thank goodness. It's been a long, stressful road, but thankfully she's a strong wee baby. That's good news. That's good news. Going to my mum's today for her birthday, but she works for the NHS, Jodie, and someone she works directly with is just positive, so can't touch her. I haven't seen her in 6 months. So, party weekend blowout. I think there's lots of fears, aren't there, that everyone's going to go crazy. And I think in Manchester, they did rumble like some stupidly, staggeringly big house party or rave, didn't they, last night? Do you, I like asking these binary questions. Do you think that this 6-person rule is going to stop the very thing they're designed to stop, which is these big parties? Do you think this 6-person rule is going to stop mass gatherings and parties and raves and all that kind of stuff? I mean, they used to be illegal when I was young. They were always illegal, but they always happened. Orange jams, potentially. Looks like Aussies will get a decent Christmas. Oh, that's good. I'm guessing maybe, I mean, I know they say that there's no connection between the heat, but maybe as it gets hotter. What's the premise for that, Felicity Cook? Are the numbers looking good over there? I'll tell you what I'm slightly concerned about. It feels like, does anyone else feel this? No, so lots of people saying no, it won't stop. I feel like the rest of the world seems to be making logical steps in the right direction. And the disease is essentially just kind of less intense. Maybe more people are getting it, but it's not killing as many and it's not hurting as many. But it seems to me that the problem here is our management and our communication skills from the government down. It feels like every day I wake up, I feel more confused. And it seems like they're in a total headless chicken mess of not knowing what to say, where to say it. You've got sort of temporary lockdowns here. You've got this over there. I mean, they've always said that, you know, regional lockdowns and, no national lockdown is the way forward. But if this is it, it's feeling very sort of patchworky, isn't it? It's feeling very odd. Do you agree? It feels, I mean, I'm wanting, I mean, you know, oh God, what's the Mr. Bean lookalike who ran against, God, what's his bloody name? What's his bloody name? The guy who ran against Boris Johnson for leadership of the, Michael Gove. You know, he's saying everything's very clear. Well, the rule of 6 is clear. What's not clear is where the rule of 6 doesn't apply. And I was talking about this yesterday with NADIA and with someone else about the idea that if you remove, essentially, if you keep sending out messages to the population, say you need to do this for economic reasons, you need to do this to keep these open, you've got to do this to keep the trains going. If you only talk to us as economic beans on a sort of board, you know, bean counters on an abacus just being moved around, if you only talk to us in those terms, and you don't talk to us in a human way as a government, you're going to lose the cooperation of, if not the entire population, certainly younger generations. My oldest Izzy posted something, you know, there's a lot of very articulate young adults who are feeling unfairly blamed or kind of scapegoated for not actually doing an awful lot wrong, but actually following government guidance to go out, live their lives, resurrect the economy. But what they're struggling with is, it's all right to do it so long as it's for the economy only, but that there's no tolerance or understanding or wriggle room or real kind of compassion for the fact that the only reason all that economic bean counting kind of just being a part of the economic system, which we all accept, the reason that becomes tolerable, or the reason that is tolerable, is for all the other bits in life. Human relationships, love, intimacy, kicking back and laughing, having socials. There's got to be some balance. And it's not about changing the message, and it's not about taking the action that's needed. It's about tone. And this is something that I've talked about a lot whenever I go into the channels and talk about programs. There's a vital ingredient, I think it's something Nadia has in bucket loads as a presenter, and it's warmth. It's warmth and humanity in presenters and in programs and in just sort of policy. And I think we're profoundly lacking in human warmth, and I hate to say it. We're lacking in it with Keir Starmer and the Labour Party too. This isn't just a Tory thing. This is a governmental thing. They have an inability to relate to the emotional lives or truths of people in this country, whether rich, whether poor, whether young, whether old, whether needing to be shielded or not. You know, we would all sign up to most things if there was a sort of humanity behind this. There's none. There's none. And it is a British thing, but it doesn't make it right, you know. And you're right, yeah, you're right, Felicity Cook, it is a British thing. But at the same time, I think in other countries, there's an understanding of where, you know, push and shove and nudge and nuzzle and all this kind of stuff. Whereas here, it's just, name and shame and anger and blame. And so, you know, I think a lot of young people are feeling, you know, there's a frustration that it's all right to take the risk on trains, in offices, in schools, to keep the economic system going. But when it comes to any element that actually sustains us as humans within this system, it's like, no. And again, this is not me saying we shouldn't observe the rule. It's about how rules are imparted. It's about how governance operates. Now, if you stood in front of most of the politicians in Westminster, Labour or Conservative, and you said to them, this is about how you, you know, with humanity, present your policy, they'd literally look at you like that. Because I don't think any of them have it. I don't think any of them have it. I think they've all been they're in such a rarefied world that is totally disconnected to the very thing of governance. It frustrates the hell out of me. Catherine Clausen, problem is warmth and close family relationships spread virus more than... Absolutely. We absolutely get that. I'm not saying that even necessarily the science is wrong or the need to do it is wrong. I'm talking about the way in which the messaging is imparted. I'm talking about the way in which culturally we're looking for scapegoats. There should be tolerance. Rather than just saying you shouldn't do that, it should be an understanding of, you know, it's like good parenting. If you just lock your child in your house and ground them without any discussion, rationale or reason, they're going to rebel even more, aren't they? It's just this simple logic. Well, it's going to be the same with the nation. I'll tell you, I promise you now, if it carries on like this, when you have such sort of stark hypocrisies from the likes of Dominic Cummings and co, you're going to have a massive generational divide that is going to kick back on my age generation, because there's a lot of old people now feeling very ignored, very abandoned, care homes, you know, the terrible tragedy of just kind of like the elderly just essentially being left to wilt and fend for themselves. There's a new incoming elderly, and that's my generation. We're going to be, you know, in Boris's generation, there's going to be a total disregard for us, and we're going to wonder where it's come from or why. You're looking at it right now. You're looking at it right now. Meghan Parker, they told young people to get out. It's like, yeah, someone posted, I think it was Izzy posted something, you know, get out, help out, be blamed. Now, that might not be the truth of it. And that might not be, you know, government ministers go, well, that's not what we're saying. Okay, it might not be what you're saying, but you have to sit down and ask yourself, why is that what people are feeling? That's the thing, isn't it? It's like when you're in a row in a relationship and someone just keeps saying, I didn't say that, I didn't say that. Okay, all right, fine, you didn't say that. But let's try and work out why I'm feeling like you said that. Crikey, you're thirsty, Chi-Chi, aren't you? Is that nice? Sorry, sounded like my armpit flooding, didn't it? Not really. Here's my coffee. That's my thought for the day. I just thought I'd chuck it out there. What do you think? Jane Bentley. Yeah, I mean, there will be a people's rebellion. I don't want there to be, but I think we have, you know, in a weird way, youngsters are going to rebel by having as good a time as they possibly can. That's how it's going to manifest itself. That's going to then compound the problem, and then more people who live in Surrey are going to say it's the youth. I'm sorry to people who sorry you don't think like that, but you know what I mean? In the home counties, there's that sort of, it's all right when you're in the home counties with a lovely house and you know, off-street parking and, you know, sort of your lights go off at night because they're saving money for the local council in the local village. You know, it's all right for you. We're talking about people who don't have very much anyway. And not a lot of people do have very much. And just because, you know, we're comfortable, just a lot of people don't have very much. So it's easy to just say, don't do that or don't have that. Batsy Owl, lockdown has broken my son's mental health. It's been incredibly hard. Yeah, you know, our girls are good girls and they're finding it really tough. They're finding it really tough. It's like, you know, what is the future? Where is the future? What is the future? Gabrielle, the government are posh-eating boys that don't know what normal life is. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are saying it's to stop protests. I mean, you know, I stop short of thinking there's some sort of Hunger Games agenda. I mean, they are saying protests can happen as long as they observe COVID protection. I mean, that does mean that you can't protest against COVID precautions without taking COVID precautions, which seems, you know, it does kind of disallow one certain type of protest. I don't know how you get around that. I mean, what I don't think is that they're all sat there with lizard heads in a sort of pyramid underneath Downing Street, trying to kind of construct this narrative. But I do think they are so unaware of their inherited wealth and their jaundiced sort of privileged viewing. It's like white privilege. They're not even aware of it. It's not like they're even acting it out. They're just not aware of it, that they have no connection to real life or real life emotions. It's like Alistair Campbell was was promoting a book or something about depression the other day, and he was saying that virtually everyone in Westminster would need some kind of mental health treatment. Anastasia Alexander, you've hit the nail on the head, your description there. It was only the other week there was a big push for us to go back to the office. I feel more like a cog in a machine and a millennial scapegoat than ever before. Cog in a machine, is it? And this is the thing that gets me. None of us mind being a cog in a machine to a degree. But this whole crisis has flagged up the extent to which do any of us want to actually be cogs in machines? I mean, if I could, I'd escape to a rock in Iceland, and as long as the tent was quite warm, I'd just stay there. Sometimes, that's how I feel. Sometimes I want to go into such isolation, it just, ugh. Obviously, if there was Wi-Fi, so I could talk to you guys. I think 4G in Iceland's quite good. Rachel Louise, they're not considering the impact on mental health at all. At all. At all. And I was saying this again, me and Maddie were talking about it yesterday. The other problem with all of that mental health stuff and the burgeoning alcohol crisis, because more and more people are turning to alcohol to manage. I mean, Christ, if I was drinking, I would have been too. There's going to be no sort of impetus to cover the burgeoning mental health crisis when it comes. Do you see what I mean? We're so COVID obsessed now that we're really, in terms of health, we're only ever going to talk about that. We're not even talking about, and dentists is in the title today. You know, the number of mouth cancers that aren't being picked up is just one example that dentists pick up when they do routine filling work and stuff like that. You know, so, but those statistics aren't sexy statistics. They aren't sexy news stories, are they? And I don't think there'll ever be, who's going to have the impetus to collate, and how are we going to be able to collate the mental health impact of all of this when mental health is such a fractured thing? Do you know what I mean? Batshit madness in the world, the economy hanging on for dear life, Brenda McGee. Ellery Jones. Our vlogs are a good escape, aren't they, Ellery Jones? You're right. Just silliness, family silliness. Because I reckon Oz will be okay in about 4 weeks, Felicity Cook. That's good. Alison Bennett, sometimes I yearn for the days when we all talked about was Brexit. Unfortunately, we're talking about COVID and Brexit now, aren't we? That's the frustration. Because on the one hand, Boris is telling everyone to observe the letter of the law, and on the other hand, he's completely breaking the law. Where does this guy come from? What is going on? He's now claiming he didn't read the clauses, or he didn't really understand what it was he signed up to in the first place. Margaret Ann MacArthur, Mark, you're right. So little money going into the third sector charities to support mental health where it's needed most. Yeah. Don't worry, Anita O'Reilly. Nadia will be back almost immediately. I asked her kids bundling on buses, driver shut doors on them. Boris is at Bell End. You've lost a balloon. No, it's over there. They do try to get out, though. They are striking for freedom. Everyone moans about lockdown, but this is how life is for us with chronic illnesses. Maybe more people have compassion now. Becky Hicks, you're absolutely right. You know, we're not for a minute suggesting that those for whom this is the norm, that's terribly tragic and very sad and frustrating. And it is a taster. I do remember saying a lot in lockdown that most people are getting a flavour of what a permanent state of mental health unease or mental health illness is like. I don't get any satisfaction from everyone having that, though. I don't sort of feel pleased that people are sort of now stepping in my shoes. I'd rather it wasn't happening because I know how unhappy it is for me. But there is, you're right. I do hope that there's some degree of, now stopping, considering and thinking for a minute what life experiences are like for different people. So I take your point absolutely on board. The Conservatives always target individual groups, says Josephine Reed. The elderly, the disabled, those on universal credit, now the young. They seem intent on turning us all against each other. Well, they are intent on turning everyone against each other because then one intention is to not turn anyone against them. And as everyone keeps saying, it's just about popularity. I mean, I have to confess, I've never known a political opposition party be so quiet. Where is Keir Starmer? Where is the Labour Party? And it feels now that because they've been so quiet, they're being too strategic rather than actually instinctive or, do you know what I mean? It feels like there's a strategy at work there of holding back, holding back, holding back and waiting until there's a moment to pounce. But what we need is actually leadership from the opposition as much as we do from Boris Johnson. Joe Pardon, he'll go for the kill soon. I keep thinking that. I keep thinking he's like one of those sort of, I don't know, there was some wildlife program, wasn't there, where there was a lizard running and all the snakes were trying to get it. Where is Keir? Where's Keir? Is he in the same pub as Whitty? Oh, Ellery Jones, I was so looking forward to celebrating my 50th in October as I've been cancer-free for 7 years now. I don't know what to do. I know it's my 50th in November and Nadia had all sorts of things kind of planned, but I know. Sacrifices. Geraldine McKeown, I want Nicola to live in England. Nicola Sturgeon. Claire Haslam, I was brave, went to London yesterday, first time in years. Have you watched Absentia? No, I'll tell you what I did start watching last night. Oh, hang on. Sue Wood, Mark, different question for you. Would you do a book on alcohol, how to stay strong and not take another one? I haven't drunk now for 14 years, but the other day I came close to buying one. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I do think an interesting narrative is how me and Nadia have managed to maintain marriage in the shadows of addiction, because that's something that rarely happens, actually. Even if someone sort of gets sober, most people if one partner or one half of a marriage or partnership is an addict, and that addict gets better, more often than not, the statistics show that most relationships fall apart because, it kind of makes sense, the drunk contingent or the addictive contingent, if that starts to get better in one person, then it's going to sort of knock the balance off as to why you originally got together. Do you see what I mean? So we're thinking about that. We're thinking about that. What was that? All we've needed throughout is black and white rules so everyone knows exactly where they stand. The rules have always been ambiguous and hard to comprehend. Yeah, and also we need rules that can't immediately be placed alongside other rules that show them for what they are, which is kind of one set of rules for one thing and a completely different set of rules for another. Sue Wood, thanks Mark, I'd buy it. We bought a puppy in lockdown. I've been shielding since March and it saved my mental health. Velvet Vicky waiting. I've heard that the puppies and pets have really... So, let's have a little trawl through. We've done a lot of kind of serious stuff there, haven't there? I mean, there is talk that we all need to look to Sweden. There's a lot of people wanting to knock Sweden, but it looks like Sweden might have got it. They went for a bit of the old herd immunity. Maybe, sometimes in a more positive frame of mind, I think maybe we're just going for herd immunity. I don't know. Let me just see what's going on here. So, Johnson pledging millions of COVID tests. There's talk of curfews. I didn't believe that when that came up. We were talking and Maddie said, oh, someone said something about curfews. I was quite shocked to see that it was being considered, but I couldn't work out from the news story whether it was one of those considerations that the government dropped out into the press to test the water and then pull it back. Do you see what I mean? I think it might be one of those. Testing system is falling over. Dentists, the thing I was saying about dentists is they're firefighting. Apparently there's a backlog where people aren't being able to get into their appointments until 2021. That's having a knock-on effect with the kind of, I do think dental work is one of those things that should be an NHS service to everyone because it picks up so many critical other illnesses in your mouth. You see where I cut myself shaving? I've got such bad eczema today. What's this? Oh, Samuel L. Jackson hits Donald Trump supporters with a damning question. He asked, who can still be voting for this guy after all the stuff that's gone down on his watch? It's not that damning a question. I mean, it's a question to be asked, but I thought it was going to be cleverer than that, so sorry. Piers Morgan claims ITV staff have been making complaints to bosses over his non-PC views. So it looks like Piers Morgan wants to cause headlines and then gets annoyed if anyone objects to him. It's getting a bit Trumpian, isn't it? Coronavirus testing system falling over. Sir Philip Green grabs furlough millions while axing staff on the cheap. I'm sure there's probably another photo of him on some ludicrously expensive yacht. Oh God, I don't know why, but there's just... He never makes me feel comfortable when I see him. I don't know why. It's terrible, isn't it? But it's just true. Husband left in tears after being humiliated for buying wife's sanitary pads. What the hell? The man said he ended up crying in his car, having never felt so embarrassed after a woman accused him of taking photos of her in the feminine hygiene aisle. It was claims of him being a pervert. I literally can't even understand that headline. I'm one of those dads who doesn't mind at all. You know, many times I just run over and go, do we need them? Yeah, it's just a functional thing, isn't it? Anita O'Reilly, daily cases have risen so much again here. Paula Farron, the one person who isn't having to wait for their dental work is Nanny Di. Brenda McGee, Mark needs a big hug. Aww. Oh, Rachel Louise, you quit smoking 5 months ago today. It's so hard. I found quitting smoking in terms of substance abuse the most difficult thing I've given up. It was so hard. Someone at the door. I might have to go. Oh, just 1 second. Boom, boom, shaka-laka, laka, boom. Right. You'll all find out where Nadia is. Mark is an amazing human being, so lovely. Jane. Jesus, I'll take that one on the chin. Let's have a look, see if there's any sort of stupid celebrity news, shall we? Let's have a look. Homes and Peter Andre vows to spend more time with kids after lockdown. Scarlett Moffat looks sensational. Oh, we're doing a review of Mulan today. We did finally get around to watching Mulan. Millie Bobby Brown is inspiring to work with, says Adil Akhtar in her latest film, Enola Holmes. Yeah, so all the news, I'm afraid, is about whether or not we're going to go batshit crazy this weekend. Batshit crazy. Loved having you all week, Mark. Velvet Vicky waiting. Aww, I've loved being here. Good night. Eat. Yeah, hit the thumbs up, guys, if you've had fun this week. Nadia will be back, and there will be a vlog landing later. And just keep on keeping on. Do you know what I mean? Sunday show tomorrow. No Name Sunday show tomorrow. I've got to edit that later today as well. Members Live was up last night. And Lily Allen has married David Harbour. Now, isn't that the most unlikeliest partnership? David Harbour seems to be getting thinner and thinner and longer and longer and longer. And I think they got married in Vegas, didn't they? Or they got the license in Vegas or something like that. Louise G, no, don't only read. In fact, sometimes I go the other way, Louise G. I only read, some mornings, not only, but when you're all saying hello, I only read people who aren't members, Louise G. So don't try a little number. Okay, guys, lots of love, and we'll see you later in some capacity, and have a lovely day. Thank you very much. Thank you for making it such an easy week for me. And your Highness, the Queen, will soon be back, and I'm sure she'll be attending to your needs in every manner possible.